Meghan Renton, thank you so much for being on the Get Foxy show today. I so appreciate you being here.
You are welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. Well, you are on this show because you've had some experience in your life regarding our topic of natural beauty. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. But regarding your bio, I had a couple of questions because you said you were born in Livermore, Colorado, to one of the toughest ladies you've ever known. And since this is the Get Foxy show, I want to hear a little bit about this mom that you had as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was born in Colorado Springs, but we moved up to Livermore on a ranch. My mom is a rancher currently. She actually turned 60 this Saturday, and she is still ranching. She pulls calves. She bales hay. Actually, her nickname up in Livermore is Big Bale Nina. Yeah, she bales hay a lot of times in her swimsuit, and she drives with her feet so her legs will get a tan. Yep.
Oh, what a role model.
Yeah, that's what I grew up with. She always taught me there's nothing a woman can't do. If you get the whole, you're a woman, you can't do that, absolutely wrong.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that explains why you've probably done the work that you've done. I know you're a social worker.
Yep.
And you're also a fighter as well, or at least you've done that in the past, correct?
Yes, I have. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I like to push the boundaries of what you're supposed to be, what a mom is supposed to be.
And you have how many kids?
3 kids, 3 boys.
3 boys.
Yep.
Man. Now, how did you get into social work? What brought you into that field?
It's kind of funny. I really wanted to be a vet. I wanted to be an equine veterinarian. And I took my first chemistry class, took my first biology class, and I thought, nope, I am not doing that. So I just met with a guidance counselor at the college I was going to, and they were just like, have you ever looked into social work? And I was like, no, what do they do? I had no idea. So that's how I kind of ended up into social work. And then when I started at the hospital, I was a student there actually. And that wasn't my pick at all for my internship. I wanted to go into adoption agency. And they were like, oh, the only thing we have for you is a hospital. And I was like, well, I don't want to work in a hospital. I know I don't want to spend my time in a hospital. And 10 years later, I'm still in a hospital doing social work.
It's funny how we kind of get placed in these professions that we're in.
Exactly.
But I'm a big believer we end up where we're meant to be.
I think so.
And I know you make a difference in doing what you do.
I hope so. Definitely.
You bet. Well, you're here today to make a difference because you're here to share your story.
Absolutely.
And this story involves the risks of breast implants.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you in the first place decided that you wanted to get breast implants?
Right. Yeah, it was never anything I really thought about, through high school, through college, even into my early 20s. It was not something I ever even thought I would consider. After the birth of my 3rd son, I was pretty athletic, probably in the best shape I'd ever been in. I just ran a marathon. And I was feeling really good about my body. Everything was great. However, I breastfed 3 kids. So I'd always been very small chested, never bothered me. I kind of liked it actually, nothing to get in the way while you're working out. But after breastfeeding 3 kids, I just became more and more aware, oh, my body looks so good. I'm feeling so good. But here I have these, for lack of a better word, these mom boobs. And so I still hadn't thought about implants. And then I had 2 friends who went and got breast implants. And I worked out with a lady who had implants as well. And she was very fit. And I would look at her and be like, wow, she's so fit, but yet she's still so feminine. And so I saw it as something, that in order to be a feminine woman, you had these breasts. So I made a consult with a surgeon, and he made it seem so easy. He's like, oh yeah, I'll get you in on a Friday and I'll get you back to work on a Monday. And so I was like, okay. And that's what I did. I got him in on a Friday and I went right back to work on Monday.
Wow. Were you really educated at all about the risks involved? I mean, most surgeons make you sign some kind of waiver.
Yeah.
What kind of education were you given prior to the implants?
So just that, a waiver. And I actually have the waiver that I signed when I got the implants. And it goes over, it's a paragraph about this big of the risks of implants. But I don't know if you've ever had surgery when they go over consents with you. It's very quick. It's, okay, we're going to quickly just go over the risk of this surgery. There might be a risk of rupture. There might be, it's very quick. And I think sometimes when anybody, women especially, when they get something in their mind and that's what they're going to do, it's difficult to tell them otherwise. And that's where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
I'd already made the decision. I'd already decided. So, yep, they went over the risks and I just signed it and went ahead.
And so what happened?
Well, it was a painful surgery. Went back to work Monday, and then I was fine. For the first couple years, I had implants for 3.5 years. So the first 2 years, I would say, that's fine. I didn't notice anything. Looking back, however, I had little subtle symptoms of the implants starting to cause problems. When I first got the implants, I developed acne. I never had acne, ever. Not through high school, not through puberty. Never had acne. And all of a sudden I was battling acne, on my cheeks really bad. Nobody really knew why. Finally went and saw a doctor and they were like, oh, you probably have polycystic ovarian syndrome, which again, I've had 3 kids. I didn't have any of the symptoms of it. So they started me on birth control pills. They started me on a blood pressure medication, and they started me on a medication for diabetes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so still didn't think anything of it. I would have never related that to my breast implants. Like I would have just never made that connection. And about, I'd say probably 8 months ago, I just started to feel really sick. Just daily fatigue. And every time I'd go to the doctor, it would be like, well, you're busy. You have 3 kids, you work, you go to school, you're busy. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm busy. This must be what's causing this trouble. I started to have joint aches. Every morning I would wake up and every joint in my body would ache. My knees would ache, my ankles would ache, my hips would ache, my hands, my elbows. It got so bad that I stopped training at the gym that I train at, which was hard for me because I've been going there for 7 years. So it was like a huge loss. I stopped running altogether. I just thought it hurts too bad. I'm just going to give up running. And again, when you go to the gym and you love exercise, again, a huge loss. I don't know exactly how I came across thinking it might be my implants. I think I was just literally Googling everything I could think of, what's going on. And I just ran across this Facebook group. It's called Breast Implant Illness and Healing by Nicole. And there's I wrote it down. There's 34,888 members in this group.
Whoa.
Yeah. So a huge community. And these are all women who either feel that their breast implants are making them ill, or women who have had their breast implants out and noticed the healing. And there's some women in the group who actually are considering implants, and they're taking the time to hear other women's stories, which to me was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I stumble across this group before? And how impactful could that have been?
You bet.
Yeah. So I went and saw a functional wellness doctor, which I had never seen before. And they really treat the whole picture. It's like this holistic approach. It's so cool. But they treat your body, and then they also treat you through, nutrition, through a chiropractor, acupuncture, so treating the whole body. And I was like, I like this idea. So she did a lot of tests, and she diagnosed me with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty devastated. Like, it was like my low of lows, like, why would I have an autoimmune disease? I'm 32 years old and I've been healthy. I do what they say to do. I work out, I eat right, I live a healthy lifestyle. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. What is going on? So with a lot of thoughts and a lot of tears and a lot of just, what should I do? I talked to this functional wellness doctor about, I have silicone breast implants. And immediately she pulled up a list of symptoms of silicone breast implant toxicity. And it was like this wave of, oh my God, oh crap, went over me. Because I was like, I have all of those symptoms. So then what? What do you do? So then I began going to consultations with plastic surgeons, saying, I want my breast implants out. They're making me sick. You get a lot of, oh, breast implants don't make you sick. You're going to get them out and you're going to feel the exact same way you felt before you put them in, or while you had them. And it's frustrating because there's research on what silicone can do to your body. And even saline implants are still wrapped in a silicone shell.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it, and if you're thinking logically rather than, oh, I want big breasts, nobody wants to put silicone in their body. If I told you, like, oh, you should inject some silicone in your bicep, you'd probably be like, no thanks. Right? Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Oh, yeah. I like my bicep size, but I suppose it could be a little bigger.
Right?
But no, I'm not going to do the silicone for it. No.
Yeah. So looking back at it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is the price of beauty. That is the price of beauty. We have this image in our mind of what we should look like and what we're supposed to look like. And if we don't look like that, we're willing to go not only spend thousands of dollars, but have silicone placed in our body. It's just, looking back, it's wow. So I scheduled the surgery with a surgeon in Loveland who, he's done a few of the people the women in that group. He's done a few of their surgeries. So I scheduled the surgery about a week before I almost canceled, because I did that whole panic, like, what am I doing? What if this doesn't help me? And then what if I'm more depressed? Because I was definitely in a state of pretty significant depression. When I woke up from surgery, I heard that one of the implants was ruptured. And I'll show you a picture. Have you seen this?
I did see what you had posted on Facebook, and yeah, for our listeners, I'm sure Meghan will supply me these photos and I will post them on the show notes.
Wow.
So that you all can go to the getfoxyshow.com and actually see what these breast implants actually looked like when they were removed. And let me tell you, it's not a pretty picture at all.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking that that's what was in my body. That's what I put in my body to look how I thought was acceptable as a woman. It's sickening, just to know that that's what was causing me to be so sick. And it looks like a monster. Literally, that show Monsters Inside Me?
I haven't seen that, but I've heard of it.
Yes. I feel like I need to be in that show. A monster was inside of me.
Oh, goodness sake. Yeah. Well, this is the reason right here why I am doing this show and why I've gotten into cosmetic acupuncture. Because at least with the cosmetic acupuncture work, the worst side effect we can have for you is maybe a little bit of bruising, unless you're absolute incompetent ass and you don't know your needling technique, then you could possibly, puncture an organ. But if you're a licensed acupuncturist and you've got the training, it's relatively low risk. But this show, and the reason why I got into this work, is simply because there are so many women caught up in these messages that the media puts out there that you do have to look a certain way and you have to look this way. Otherwise, you're not feminine. You're not attractive or attractive enough.
Right.
So I'm here to rebel against that. And that's why I thought, gosh, we've got to get Meghan to tell her story. And I so appreciate you doing that.
Definitely. I completely agree. I usually learn lessons, for lack of better words, the hard way. I've always been that way. My mom will tell me, don't do this. This is what's going to happen. And I have to do it and see what happens. This is a really unfortunate lesson. This is a lesson that not only has it cost me a lot of money, it's cost me a lot of time. It's cost a lot of hurt. This has been very physically painful. This was a really hard surgery, emotionally and physically and psychologically. I had this surgery where I removed these so-called perfect breasts, and the next day I had to wake up and unwrap and see what was under that wrap. So just psychologically and I was worried. I actually met with my therapist and talked about, how am I going to deal with this new body image? I've gotten so used to this fake image that I've had. So it's been a roller coaster ride, that is for sure, but it has been such a great lesson for me. And one moving forward that I want to share. And the reason why I want to share it is I either want to impact people who are thinking of getting breast implants, who are having those same thoughts like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, or, oh, I've had, this many kids, or, oh, I'm too small chested. We're beautiful, regardless of what our breasts look like. And those breasts that breastfed your children, we should be proud of them.
Amen to that.
Yep, for sure.
You bet. How are you doing health-wise now?
Oh my gosh, I could shout it from the rooftops. I feel amazing. I feel probably not 100%. I woke up the morning after surgery and my eyes had been very inflamed and very red for probably the last 6 months. The inflammation was gone. My eyes were clear. The inflammation, I could just feel it coming out of my body. And my joints haven't hurt once. I've started running again. I've started lifting again. I feel amazing. It's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, even the pain from the surgery is fine. It's all worth it to me. And the self-image that I was so worried about, I'm fine with it. I love it. So it's been probably the best decision I've made.
I so very much appreciate the vulnerability and the authenticity that you're sharing with us today. I mean, this is a big story that I don't think that the media really has much to say on this topic. I mean, it's like crickets out there.
You're right. And when I made the choice to share my story on Facebook, so social media, just to put it out there, I thought okay, I have 700 friends on Facebook. I don't remember who a lot of them are, but you know what? I don't care. I want everybody to know. I want everybody to know what you can go from. You can go from feeling healthy to getting breast implants to feeling sick, and what these can do to you. And actually there's she's an LCSW. Actually, her name is Brene Brown. Have you heard of her?
Yes, I have heard of Brene.
Yeah, so she does a lot of talk on shame resilience. and a lot of talk on telling your story, getting it out there. So many women experience shame and guilt, and initially I thought, like, this is embarrassing. Like, this is embarrassing that I wanted breasts so bad that I got breast implants and now I'm getting them out. And then I thought, you know what? This isn't embarrassing. This is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to be vulnerable, to put it out there and to show people, like, this is something that can happen. And you're right. We don't see it. We don't hear about it in the media. We don't see it. We see women getting breast implants, but we don't hear about these 35,000 women who have come forward and said, these implants are making me sick. And I can't imagine how many more there are. So if everyone would tell their story, I feel like that'd be pretty impactful.
You bet. You bet.
Yeah. Brene, actually, I just came across this quote the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, how fitting. She has this quote that says, courage is contagious. Every time we choose courage, we make everyone around us a little better and the world a little braver. So I was like, that is right.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, I have a question for you that I ask all of my guests on the Get Foxy show. And that is, what does being foxy mean to you, Meghan?
I think being foxy to me is confidence, self-love, loving yourself. We're so quick to defend people we love. If you hear someone talking bad about your loved one, we're so quick to say, don't talk about that person that way. But yet we're so quick to talk poorly about ourselves. And it's definitely a struggle that I've had too. But I think being foxy is self-love. So we can say we love our loved ones and, oh, they're so, this and they're so that, and they're so funny and happy and good looking, but we don't say it about ourselves enough.
Who do you feel embodies foxy in your world right now?
In my world right now, I would say I think all women out there, all moms. Moms always have such a tough balance. How do you balance being a mom, having a sick kid, or having this with work, with feeling foxy, with all of these things. So, yeah, I think all moms.
What would you say to someone right now who is considering getting breast implants? What would you want to leave them with?
I think the biggest thing, and I've had a lot of people come forward after I shared my story saying, hey, I'm thinking of it, talk to me about it. I think the biggest thing for me is, first of all, identifying why. Why? What is it that makes you feel the need to get breast implants? And then once you identify that why, really working through it, really thinking, is that worth it? Researching the risks, learning what the risks are, and thinking, is there a better way to love myself than breast implants? Is there another way that I can learn to love myself rather than getting breast implants?
Boy, that's what it boils down to, isn't it?
It sure is.
There's so many ways out there that we can take care of ourselves, ways that we can help improve our self-esteem, ways that we can self-nourish, self-care. Oh my gosh, yeah. I talk so much about self-care with the women on this show, and I talk so much about self-care in my clinic that I think this is just something within our culture that we have to work to change, because women in our culture just don't seem to be taught that, it's okay to take a moment for yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether that's taking some time to meditate, taking time to go get a massage, taking time to go get your nails done, taking time to go out and have a drink with your friends, whatever you need to do to be able to nourish your soul, your self-esteem, your self-worth, by God, you are a divinely created individual and you deserve it. You deserve to feel good in your own body.
Absolutely. And, just surrounding being a woman, there's so much guilt and so much shame. There's guilt for maybe leaving the kids to go do your nails or to go have dinner with your friends. And there's so much shame as far as what a body looks like, and how we feel as women. And it needs to change. And I really feel that treating the body as a whole, a holistic experience, we have to treat everything in our body to feel well. And American medicine, we're so quick to go to the doctor and treat the symptom, but we don't ever treat that actual root cause. So asking yourself why, what's going on, rather than just putting a Band-Aid on the symptom.
There we go. That is pretty much you're preaching to the choir here, because I am a holistic medicine practitioner, and that's part of what the Get Foxy show is all about. Mm-hmm. Holistic health, natural beauty, passionate living. And Meghan, you are embodying all three.
Well, thank you.
You bet. Well, we're hitting the time limit here. So I want to say thank you. And I so very much honor you for, again, sharing your vulnerability and being so authentic and true to yourself and hopping on this mission to help other women. God bless you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.